Definitely not the way I wanted Thursday night football to go. But Dolphins lose 27-15. I'm going to have a whole entire video later tonight just about the whole entire situation. Latest updates, all that type of stuff. This video is just going to be strictly recap of last night's game, but starting out with some stats. Tua Tagovailoa, who's in for about a quarter and a half, 8 for 14, 110 yards in that interception. Not a very delightful interception. It was just completely underthrown. Um, but Teddy Bridgewater, who stepped in for him, 14 for 23, 193 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Not gonna lie, Teddy Bridgewater looked nice. Just assuming that he's going to be the quarterback for at least a couple weeks. He looked okay. The interception on the last drive was really, really bad, though. And it turns out that it looked like the safety, I think, or cornerback, whoever caught the interception, it looked like it may have hit the ground, but a loss is a loss. Teddy played pretty good, I guess, for a backup. Running game was actually kind of on point today. Raheem Mostert, 15 carries for about 70 yards. Chase Edmonds couldn't really get anything going, but Raheem Mostert looked like the run game was actually kind of working. Tyreek Hill was the main guy today, or last night, I should say. 10 receptions, 160 yards, including that 65-yard perfect throw by Teddy Bridgewater. Trent Sherfield was his second favorite target, it looked like. 4 receptions for 55 yards, and Waddle, 2 receptions for 39 yards. Was targeted 5 times. Waddle looked pretty off yesterday. It was kind of disappointing. A lot of good defensive players by Cincinnati, but there was a couple of throws that I think he really should have brought in. And on the Bengals side, Joe Burrow played really well. 20 for 31, 287 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Tyler Boyd also completed a pass, 23 yards to Jamar Chase for a first down. Joe Mixon, 24 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown really pissed me off. We had him stuffed, and then the O-line just pushed him an extra about 6 or 7 yards on that. He was basically the only guy. T. Higgins, 7 receptions for 124 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Howard was not even guarding Jamar Chase. And he was guarding T. Higgins, and now T. Higgins decides to go off. So that was really annoying. Xavier Howard left at the very end of the third quarter. So basically right at the start, right in the middle of the third and fourth quarter, he left with a groin injury and didn't return. And then Jamar Chase, 4 receptions for 81 yards. Tyler Boyd, 2 for 47. Hayden Hurst, 3 for 23. Bengals were kind of clicking, but I know that it seems like we lost by a lot, being 12 points, but this basically was a one-possession game. Teddy and the Dolphins were basically on their potentially game-winning drive, and the Bengals ended up coming down and scoring at the end, so it seemed like it was more of a blowout than it really was. But, yeah, obviously, this game was just really hard to watch, especially after the injury. Bengals opened up with a touchdown. Obviously, was kind of annoyed about that. But Bills and Ravens scored on opening drives. We know how both of those games ended. Dolphins came back with a field goal, forced them to punt. Then the next drive was the interception drive. I can't even really try to defend that. If that's Mahomes throwing that ball, it's most likely hitting Tyreek in stride. But it was really underthrown. So it ended up being intercepted. Bengals came down. We ended up stopping them on 4th and 1. Defensive made a great play. I think it was Eric Rowe who really was the anchor of that play, stopping the Bengals. Dolphins came back with a field goal, forced the Bengals to punt, and then this next one was the drive that kind of just changed everything. On the first play of the game, first play of that drive, there's actually a roughing the passer call, which was a late hit, kind of a dirty hit. And then there was another play, I think, on the previous drive where he kind of took a shot to the legs. Nothing was called, but the Bengals were taking some cheap shots. And then just that, yikes, bro. The play that he got injured just completely changed everything. And it's a rollout. He's got time. The O-line gives him time, and he's kind of standing in the middle of the field. He's thinking about firing. He doesn't. But I think at the end of the day, you throw that ball away. You you're rolling out to your strong side. Now I'm not really sure what he was seeing. Maybe there was linebackers or something where he couldn't really roll out any further. But you're in the middle of the field. You may as well keep coming back, but or throw it away at least. And ended up obviously getting sacked. And dude, just if Tua came out of this game for any other type of injury where he could at least walk off the field and we lost this game, I'd be like, all right, just obviously you have basically a mini bye week. We have the Jets next week. If you need to rest him, do so. But just the fact that he was stretchered off and he just obviously in that fencing position where your fingers and hands like lock above your face, it's just such a scary thing to see. And then Bridgewater played all right, but that was at that point it was 3rd and 17. Bengals came down, and I'm pretty sure the whole entire team was just shaken up at that point. And Bengals scored. T. Higgins just burned Jamar Chase right before the half for about 60 yards. Then we came down. Teddy Bridgewater looked pretty nice on that drive and had a shovel pass to Chase Edmonds for the touchdown. And we are down going into halftime, 14-12 after Jason Sanders missed the field goal. I really think we should have gone for 2 there, but at that point, with the injury that just happened, you don't even want to risk anything. But you got to be thinking, if you're a Dolphins fan watching this game, even a fan of any team, just watching the Thursday night football game, you're feeling just, and especially as a Dolphins fan, I've never felt that empty watching a game. Like, it just made this game seem like a primetime Thursday night football game to just a preseason game. Like, I felt like the game didn't even matter at that point. Like, I just wanted to get it over with and get any news we could possibly get. Definitely not the way that I should have been thinking, but like, just you're in a season that can define the rest of your career. If you don't play well, you're most likely getting moved on from. You may get another chance somewhere, but obviously they know that you're not the guy that they picked 5th overall in the 2020 draft. So you're wanting to play, you're wanting to prove yourself, prove everybody else wrong, but obviously things like this happen. Like I said, I'm going to make a whole other video, so I don't want to get carried away with the investigation being kind of close to an end too. Second half did not open well for anybody. 4 straight punts, then the Dolphins hit a field goal. Bengals hit a field goal right back. Dolphins punted it, Bengals hit another field goal, and then we were down 5, 20-15 with about 3 minutes to go. This is what I'm saying. 3 minutes to go, you're down 5. It's a close game. It wasn't actually as far of a game as it seemed. Dolphins were driving. They were at the Bengals' 26-yard line, and then Teddy just throws 5 yards behind Mike Gesicki. It was an awful, awful play. I really, and then the Bengals ended up driving down, and Dolphins had their timeouts, so they had to. Obviously, Bengals were driving. They ended up scoring. Dolphins were stopped on downs, and the Bengals ended up winning that game. But we ended up getting news during the game that Tua was discharged from the hospital and would fly back with the team. But another thing that I found, because I'm thinking he's 101% sure he is a concussion, obviously, after that. The very least, he has a concussion. And so I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure you're not really supposed to be flying when you have a concussion. So I searched it up, just curious, and it's saying that, airlines recommend waiting at least 10 days after an incident if you have a concussion. So I'm not saying that they're lying to us, saying that he only has a concussion, but I don't know. I just really don't know what to believe anymore. I'm gonna have a full video, obviously, on this. I'll leave it for the video later tonight. I want to say shout out to Melvin Ingram, who won AFC Defensive Player of the Month for the first month of the season, basically first 3 weeks of the season. Has been proved to be one of the most underrated signings in the NFL. He's been such a help to this pass rush, especially with Jalen Phillips kind of struggling so far this season. He's really been a help and definitely a mentor in the locker room. Christian Wilkins has also been really nice. But yeah, I mean, now we got to kind of focus to what the next couple weeks will be like without Teddy Bridgewater. With Teddy Bridgewater as our starting quarterback. Face the Jets next week. I would love to see Teddy Bridgewater get the Dolphins about a 3-possession lead or something. And then we see Skylar Thompson for a bit. Looks so impressive in training camp and preseason. Would love to see how his game translate to the NFL. Then week 5 we play the Jets. That'll 95% sure be without Tua. Next game versus the Vikings in week 6. That'll probably be without him as well. That's going to be kind of tough, even especially if a guy like Xavier Howard does not play. Then week 7 is the Steelers game, which really pisses me off because I think that's going to be the throwback jersey game with the whole entire 50th anniversary for the 1972 team. But yeah, I was just so disconnected from the game after that injury. I just couldn't even focus on the game. I could have made a recap last night, but I didn't know what to talk about. Like, I know we lost this game, kind of sucks, but like 3-1's a good start. But I just didn't know what to talk about. I was so disconnected from this game after seeing that injury. Felt empty. It felt like a preseason game. Like I wasn't even like paying attention that much. But yeah, 3-1. Like I said, a good start. If you told me we would start 3-1, I would assume it's probably a loss to the Bengals. Or the Bengals or the Bills are probably the two teams I would think that we would have lost to. But Bengals are a good team. 4 straight backups that the Bengals have played this season. Week 1, Mitch Trubisky. He's going to be back up soon. Week 2 was against the Cowboys in Cooper Rush. Week 3 was against the Jets in Joe Flacco. And now Teddy Bridgewater basically for most of the game. I think if Tua stays in that game, Dolphins end up winning it. But we will never really know what happens. There's really not much to talk about. I think it's going to be definitely a longer video in a couple hours when just start ranting about the whole entire Tua situation. We'll see if we have any new updates. I mean, even if Tua goes on the IR, I may be more happy than if he doesn't. But I'm sure they're obviously not going to be rushing anything anymore. We'll see what the MRI says. Finished the MRI a couple hours ago, so we'll see what happens. But that'll wrap up. Dolphins lose Thursday Night Football. Now we have kind of a mini bye week going into the Jets next week. But that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.